can you just maybe go over just how well the 2-minute drill has been working these last, I guess, maybe 5 games? It seems like you guys have gotten point production.
Yeah, it's been nice. Yesterday was even better. We turned 1 on 2 man at the first play, and then right when we got into it, they busted a coverage over the middle. We went real fast. Their inside linebacker and their outside backer, both of them took the back, and that left our tight end down the seam in a 2-shell defense. So we got that explosive deal. Got down there fast, and the next play they blitzed and hit Marquise on a slant, and then it was pretty much over after that. So it's gone well, and guys made some good plays in it.
Why though? Why now? I mean, you guys have been practicing this basically daily, right? It's just repetition?
Yeah, and repetition, and I mean, those were some good looks too. I mean, it's nice when guys bust and leave a tight end going down the middle for a 30-yarder. So that was real nice. But you still got to see it. You still got to get there. It was number 2 in the progression, so it was a good job getting to that. And then then they blitzed the second time, and Marquise got a lot of separation on man-to-man on a slant, so it got us about a 10-yard gain, which got us in a field goal range, and then we were able to run the play and kick the field goal. So I think it's timing, is it? I think our guys are doing better the more they've done, and it's worked out well, but I can't tell you exactly why.
Jimmy mentioned yesterday, I thought it was interesting, he said that he was sitting on the sideline before, and he was going over, like almost cramming for that 2-minute drill, because he said it was the first time he was going to use the plays in that way.
Yeah.
He said, are those kind of things coming up a lot where he's still on the sideline, you're like, wow, this guy's only been here for
Yeah, definitely.
months?
That's a challenge for him, and that'll be that way throughout this whole year. Stuff he knows and everything going into the game, but then you don't bring something up for a while, or in the heat of the battle, it's just not always automatic. We got a number of plays that we use in 2-minute with different words and things like that. So, it's nice to anticipate that coming, not with a quick turnover or something like that. So Rich could sit there on the sidelines with them and go over everything. And, Jimmy's a pretty visual guy. So when we do that, it's nice to have about 5 to 10 minutes where Rich can draw all the plays up so he can see them, just think about them, and we don't get to use them all. I think we ended up using 3 of them, but it's nice to preview that before we go out.
Or yesterday, the Jaguars were on pace to be the first defense ever to lead the NFL in scoring, takeaways, and sacks. That's never happened before. I know coaches don't love comparing, but are they, when you look at them and maybe think about just your history as a coordinator, are they unique to what you've gone against in the past?
I'll start them on tape probably about an hour from now. But just from looking at the numbers, I played them 2 years ago. I have an idea of what scheme they run. I knew how good their personnel was 2 years ago. I know the personnel they've added through the last couple of drafts. And I've seen the numbers, so I can imagine it's going to be right there what you're asking. But I won't know that for sure until later tonight, halfway through tomorrow. So I'll answer that better on Wednesday.
I know you're familiar with this scheme because you guys run it and you've gone against similar schemes before, but are there nuanced things that you can talk to Robert about, and maybe personnel-wise?
Yeah, possibly. That's our whole day on Monday. I just finished with the team a couple hours ago. I just finished with the quarterbacks about a half an hour ago. Now I'm with you guys, and then I'll go spend another half an hour with the personnel department talking some things, and then it's Jacksonville for the rest of the night and all day tomorrow before the players come in. I know the coaching staff, as far as their coordinator is the same from the year before when Sala was there. I know some of their personnel is and stuff, so we'll talk about those things, but we won't know what they've changed or anything until we study the tape. But I do know how good their players are, and I know how sound the scheme is, so it doesn't surprise me at all what their numbers have been this year.
Obviously, the penalties have been a reason you haven't been able to finish some of these drives. Is there anything else, now that you've seen it for a few weeks, that you can put your finger on why you haven't been able to finish drives with touchdowns?
I think the penalties have been a big part of it. You look at our red zones yesterday. The penalties weren't all of it. We got down, I think we had 1st and goal in the 10 at the end of the second quarter. We ran a run play on 1st down, and we had a couple busts and how we targeted those runs. So we ended up getting 0 yards on that. So we had 2nd and goal from the 10. Had a man-to-man play to KB on 2nd goal from the 10. Corner made a good play. And then we had 3rd and goal from the 10, and we didn't get that either. So I think we got to be more efficient in what we do. When we don't have a penalty, we got to get positive yards. You don't want to call a run play on 1st and goal from the 10 and get 0 yards. Kind of puts you behind the 8 ball. And if you have a lot of 3rd and goals from the 10, that's not going to go very well. Next time down there, I believe we had a good play on 1st down. But we ended up getting a clipping by Breida that took us out. We ended up having 3rd and goal from the 18, which is pretty not good. So we threw a quick screen, and I thought the guys made a hell of a play, but they took that back with the offensive PI. So it's been a little bit of both. We got to get better down there. We got to execute better. We got to be more disciplined. We got to the. I thought we did one good job overcoming something. We had first and goal from the 7, I believe, in our first time down there. Ran it to the 1, had second and goal on the 1. Missed a run through backer on the backside who got a loss of 5 yards, and we had third and goal from the 6. Jimmy did a good job going off schedule and hitting Selleck in the end zone, so we overcame that. But we haven't overcame much else on those other times.
So you said Robbie Gould's playing as well as any player you've ever had. Why is he playing so well right now? What makes him such a good kicker, and how important is he to this team?
Robbie's very important. I mean, the kicker is always important, especially how close all these games are. And, if you're not making field goals, I think it would have been pretty tough to win these games that we have won. They're all fairly close, and they can come down to just a couple plays. And I can't explain to you why he's doing so well. I don't know enough about kicking. All I know is whether it's good or not good. It's probably the only position I can study off a piece of paper just by reading the percentage. But he's been great, and I think you guys can tell how he carries himself. He's the only kicker I've been around who truly knows everything that's going on. He'll call Hightower on Tuesday nights and try to suggest things they should do in their blocking patterns and stuff on kickoffs and punts and things like that. He really enjoys football. He comes in early. He talks to everybody. He's a part of everything. He's not just in his own little world kicking the ball and stuff. He's really a part of this team, and that's why we consider him a leader. And when you act that way, that's great, but you're going to be judged by how good you do. And I think the guys respect the hell out of him because of how he carries himself, but also because they know how good a job he's doing in these games.
After the game yesterday, he said he met you for the first time at the Combine about 7 years ago. You, him, and Adam Gase. Do you remember that? He said he was impressed by how passionate you were for the game.
Yeah, I do remember that. I think I met him in the JW Marriott Hotel lobby. He was with a couple guys with Pashos, Tony, who I knew, and I think I was with Adam. So Tony came in and introduced him to us, and that's where we first met.
Oh, it's a serious question. I'm not asking you to actually do it, but could you go from the first offensive play and tell us each play that happened in succession from yesterday's game?
No. No, probably not. If I was more rested. I celebrated too much last night. I definitely couldn't do it right now.
Fair enough. I bet you might be able to do it. Next question. People are looking at this. This is not news to you. You were just 0-9, but now people are looking at next year like, oh, yeah, of course, they're going to be in playoff contention. I know you're focused on Jacksonville and all that, but you guys were given 6 years contracts, and there was this whole, this is a patient approach, but all of a sudden, do you have that feeling like, this could happen faster than you anticipated?
I don't really think of it that way. I think of it day by day and game by game. And when we get to this off season, I'll spend some time really evaluating hard the off season. Look at the contracts and things for the future and where we're going to go with free agency and the draft, and just try to make the right decision and the best decision possible with whatever's presented to us in any situation. That's kind of when we got here. It wasn't, hey, we have to do this, we have to do that, we have to get this guy, or we have to get that guy. It's what guys are available. Do we think they can be a part of this for the future? How do we want to go about doing that? And try not to force anything. I think that was one of the good things that John and I felt coming here, that we didn't have to make any what we thought real risky decisions or anything like that for anything real immediate. We thought we could just focus on what we thought was right and stick with that. We feel we've done that as far as so far how it's been going. It's always tough when you start out 0-9, but it was nice when doing that, not having people in our building freak out and think we had to go do something drastic, just being able to stay with the process and continue focusing on that. And that's easier said than done, but when you end up winning some games, it makes it a lot easier. And I think everyone does start to get excited, and I know you guys can feel that with our team, and you can feel it with the fans for sure on Sunday, but we're not, we live in reality, and a lot of things had to go well for us to win that game yesterday too. We were real excited, and I was happy about how our guys responded to a lot of things, but by no means was that perfect. And we almost found a way to lose it a couple of times, and we're not going to win a lot of games if we have those penalties and do stuff like that. So even though we're all excited, there's a lot to learn from, and I do know we got to play better to talk about what you're talking about.
You guys have won 3 in a row now, so is Jacksonville. It's like the NFL's 2 hottest teams. Does that help you create that playoff feel that you're going for these final couple games?
Well, I mean, I know their year's been a lot different than ours, but that's what we talked about last week going into these final 3 games, that we're going against 3 teams who are playoff teams and fighting to be playoff teams. And I know Jacksonville, just looking at their record and stuff, I mean, they could still possibly fighting for home field advantage, I think. I think they're 2 games out. But it's going to be a huge challenge. I know you guys already brought up the numbers with them, and I'll see more when I turn on that tape. But when you look at teams that have those type of numbers, they have as good a chance as anyone to go all the way. So I know it'll be a huge challenge for us, and hopefully we'll heal up this week and look at the tape and have a plan to try to get after them on Sunday.
You said that you try to take it day by day. You don't want to get too far down and looking at how you're going to rebuild next year. But do you find yourself at all kind of making a wish list of what you would like to see to take that next step when it comes to next year?
Yeah, I always look at, where I want to improve in all 3 phases, where I think certain, I look at by positions where I think we can get better and things like that. But you got to look at what's available each year too. You don't just go to a store and pick exactly what you want. You got to see what's available in free agency, what's available in the draft. You don't always just go for need, because that need isn't always there, and sometimes you got to work around it. So, I am very excited with how we're playing. It makes it a lot more exciting going into the offseason, just because you can see it in the players. And I think you can feel with them to where we're at the end of the year and they're not, I don't hear them talking about vacation or talking about what they're going to do in January. I see guys generally coming in excited to get the game plan and go to work. And I think that's pretty unique from a group of guys when you're out of the playoffs and you're looking at these last 2 games. So that excites me with our team, but I also know we got a lot of work to do, and I think we got the right guys that's what we'll focus on and stay humble doing it.
You guys talked about how much Tennessee blitzed yesterday. Are you anticipating, I know you haven't dove into the film yet, but are you anticipating much more of a conservative approach from a lack of blitzing standpoint and forcing your guys to win their one-on-one matchups? I
would, considering the style of how they play. Again, I haven't watched the tape, but I'm sure they haven't been doing that much this year, just knowing their personnel and knowing their scheme. But you never know what you get on Sunday, and you always go into a game anticipating stuff, and you always have to be ready to adjust when it's different.
Foster missed a couple of plays. He was hurt, came back. It's happened to him a few times. Is there any pattern, or just bad luck? Is it a product of how hard he plays?
I think everyone can see Ruben throws his body around, plays very hard. That's something you have to ask Ruben about. He's already tricked me enough. I told him I'm not coming out there anymore. And then one day I'm going to need to, but it's hopefully not. But he usually, I think it's pretty serious, and he's back out there a couple plays later. But I know he plays through a lot of pain. I know he throws his body around. You guys can see how violent he plays. But he definitely has made me nervous many a time, so I try not to worry too much until he's out longer than a couple plays.
Have you considered what to get the Patriots for Christmas?
No, I haven't, but definitely they're on my good side right now.
Nothing in terms of contracts with Jimmy or anybody else at this
Yeah, that's something that, we don't even, we definitely don't talk with the players about right now, and it's something pretty far from my mind, but a couple weeks isn't that far away, so we'll see when we get to the offseason.
Aldrich's presumably in the concussion protocol, but was his hand too?
Yeah, his wrist has been bothering him a little, and I think he just landed on it funky. So, whether he sprained his wrist or something, but nothing broke. It was his head. It was the concussion that bothered him, and he was good after the game, talking to him and stuff. But he definitely has to be in the protocol.
Did you get through mostly clean other than that?
Yeah, Colbert surprised us after the game. He came in with some symptoms, had him again this morning, so he's going to be in the protocol. So.
How did Akello come out, and how close was he to not playing in the game?
He was close to not playing. We had to go easy on him all week, and he had to push it a lot harder on Friday. To where if he wanted it on Friday, he wouldn't have been able to play. But he went hard enough on Friday. He wasn't fully there, but looked good in warm-ups. Felt he was healthy enough. We did the same thing with Maven, but his was the other way. He struggled on Friday, and then we worked him out before the game on Sunday and just couldn't go. So we brought Powell up and made that adjustment.
With Jimmy, he does a lot of things well, but it seems like has the ability when coverage drops to see it. Seems like a couple of key plays yesterday that was the case. Mm-hmm. Is that something that you see on film with him? Yeah, I think he's got a natural feel out there. It's not always he's going to sit there and tell you exactly what coverage and what parts they're in, like a coach will do with a clicker in his hand when I'm watching it very slowly and stuff. And
he just sits in there and feels holes and lets it rip, and those are usually what the good ones do. They don't sit there and overthink it and overanalyze something. They try to stay pretty mindful, pretty poised, very balanced in how their body is, and when they feel holes, they let it rip with no hesitation, and I think you guys can all see that on tape, and he's done a real good job with that.
Does that go back to his experience at Eastern Illinois a little bit when they just didn't have a playbook?
I don't know. It's, you'd probably have to ask him more on that. They got rid of the ball so fast in that type of offense. It's almost like watching basketball. They just spread it out and they catch and throw almost every play. That was one of the things watching him in college. It was hard to evaluate how long he could stay in that pocket, and you weren't totally sure of it. And you get that with a lot of these college guys because the spread offense sometimes is just one step and throw. So you're not sure how they'll handle getting hit very much and hanging in there. And that's always a scary thing because if they don't handle it well, it's very hard to be successful in the NFL. But you have that challenge a lot coming out with these guys. And Jimmy, we had the challenge with. I remember studying Carr with the Raiders. He was the same at Fresno State. They just got rid of it so fast. But then you hope they'll do it in the NFL, but you never know till they get in the heat of battle, and he's proven to do it.
So was it those two games he started in New England where you knew that he could do it?
Definitely. I mean, you like to see more and over time and stuff, but you go off what you've seen, and you're going to go off the NFL games, and he was very poised in both his game and a half that he played in. He's done in the preseason too, and he definitely has the ability and the throwing mechanics to do it, and shows he's got the toughness also.
Jimmy looks like the greatest quarterback of all time right now, but he still hasn't played that much. How many games does a quarterback need to play before you feel like you know who he is as a player?
I definitely can't put a number on that. I think you don't. I mean, it's been great. I think he's 5-0 as a starter. I mean, there's going to be a time that he goes through adversity. I'm sure someday he will lose. And, and guys have rough games. I don't care how good you are or if you're the greatest quarterback of all time. And I mean, I've heard people over the years, whatever the 2 or 3 games that Tom's had that haven't been very good, usually the next day people are saying, all right, you might be getting older, and then he usually finishes the year with an MVP and a Super Bowl trophy. So in order to see how guys are doing, you got to see how they respond to adversity and how they can do it over the long haul. And Jimmy's going to get that opportunity, and we'll see. And I feel pretty confident he'll handle it the right way.
Last one, guys. Tennessee selling out against the run yesterday. After watching the tape, what was your takeaway for your rushing attack?
Pretty much that. I think they committed a lot to the run. I thought we struggled blocking them. I thought their guys did a good job inside and on the edges. Their linebackers did a good job getting off our blocks, and we weren't able to crank any big one. So I thought they did a good job. I think they've done a good job all year, and I thought they committed to a little bit more than usual.